stand against the Kinder Morgan pipeline, which is the tar sands pipeline that fuels climate change. We believe in another way, in a clean and just transition for my generation, for our generation. Ow! Thank you!
Hey, treat her with respect!
Ow!
Hey, treat her with respect! She's standing up for
That
you!
really hurts. Okay, please stop. That really hurts my head.
The earnest self-righteousness of illegal protest is really sort of cute in a way, isn't it? Here's the deal. The judge ruled last Friday that protesters stopping Kinder Morgan from doing some research, not building a pipeline, doing research they needed to do in order to apply to build a pipeline, was illegal and had to stop by 4 o'clock Monday, BC time. The protesters did not stop, and through the course of this week, the police have done nothing about it. That appears to have begun to change. Our Ada Slavinsky has been reporting. She's on scene. We've reached her by phone on the mountain. Ada, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It started to rain here, but I've seen 8 arrests so far with my own eyes. There are some reports that there's as much as 12 people arrested. One of them you saw was Brigitte Depap. She's a well-known Senate page. She was arrested earlier this morning. At the moment, a young lady has chained herself to a cement block using a bike lock. So police are now trying to figure out how to go about removing her. There are several protesters, First Nations people within the camp boundaries that are within the injunction zone. They've been allowed to stay there, and police are trying to figure out how to move the sacred fire, which is still lit within that zone.
This is not exclusively, however, a native protest, is it, Ada?
No, it's definitely not. They are using some slogans from First Nations people, talking about this being Coast Salish territory and unceded land. But largely this is really a protest against oil and pipelines and oil sands development. That's what people are really protesting and gathering against. They don't want to see pipelines going through anywhere. Of course, this is the second route that Kinder Morgan has proposed, which is to go right through Burnaby Mountain. So that's the one that they're opposing. Now, remember, Kinder Morgan isn't doing pipeline work. What they're really doing at this point is environmental assessment to see if it would have the environment to bring the pipeline this way or not. So that's what they're stopping.
All right, so as you've been reporting and as we've been seeing as you're talking, the protesters are being arrested and carted away, at least some of them. Has that then resulted in the Kinder Morgan workers being able to go back to their duties?
Yes. So just before 1 today, BC time, we did see several members of Kinder Morgan staff come in, and they really were just doing some measurements. They weren't here for very long, and there was a lot of the native people who are still within the injunction zone chanting in their ears and banging drums. And a lot of the other protesters who are gathered outside that zone were yelling at them and harassing them. So they weren't here for a very long time, but they were able to come in and do a little bit of work, which is more than we've seen in the past.
Do you think that there's any indication that now that some arrests are taking place, this will peter out?
It's hard to say at this point. The injunction area has been cleared, and at least I think within a couple of days we should see people just peacefully protesting on the outskirts, which the judge has ruled that they're allowed to do.
Right.
But we still haven't actually seen any of the tents moved, and the sacred fire within the zone is still in there. So I hope that at some point we will see this peter out, but I don't know if I can hazard that guess at this point. Now, remember that for Kinder Morgan, the deadline is December 1st for them to get some of this work done, and that's one of the reasons that they got the injunction, because the judge ruled that if they didn't get it, the harm that would be done to them financially would be irreparable. So every day that this goes on, Kinder Morgan is losing money and really unable to do their work.
We'll stay in touch with you. Thanks very much for this.
Thank you.